Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Google Workspace Recap, a Tab Geeks Network show. Each week we take you through everything announced by Google Workspace, discussing the updates of the week and other relevant news and announcements. My name is Jesse Nolan, my co-host is Steve Larson, and we are here to help you keep up. Apologies for last week's episode. No matter how many times I rendered it and tweaked it and played around with it, it simply would not output a complete video file. I was able to download the files just fine from Riverside, which is the tool we record in. I was able to see them in its entirety in Final Cut. I was able to work with them in Final Cut, edit them, snip, this, that, and the other thing. But when it would render, it wouldn't render a complete file. It would just cut off. It would be the correct length, 40 some odd minutes, whatever it was, but it would just, whatever you were seeing there would freeze, basically, the audio and the video. It would just stop playing. And the thing that drove me even more crazy about this was it wasn't in the same place every time I rendered it. So, you know, the more times you try and do the same thing over and over again is the mark of insanity, or however that quote goes. I kept doing it again and again because each time I would get it in a different space. Sometimes it would be 19 minutes in, it would cut off. Sometimes it would be 9 minutes in. Sometimes it would be 22 minutes in. It didn't matter. And so I, spent all day rendering and re-rendering the episode, and it wouldn't go. So I apologize to everybody. I finally said, screw it. Although I used more colorful language, and at the end of the day, I think Wednesday, I finally got it up, and I just put it into another software and got a nice little visual bit there, so you could see the waveform, and it would look good for our folks over on YouTube, and get the audio up over for the podcast fans who are just listening on the audio only side, to make sure that we didn't miss the week, because we still have not missed a week, and I'm going to do my best to make sure that we continue being able to bring you the latest and greatest and best out of Google Workspace and our analysis, etc. So I do think I figured out the problem, though. I think it was that the drive where I keep my media library, or not my media library, the actual Final Cut Pro library, which sometimes can balloon in size. I think I was running out of space on that drive. It's a 6 terabyte Thunderbolt drive, and I also have the episode backups on there, so I think with the two of them, it just something conflicted, and it ran out of space. So I have a 12 terabyte drive now that I have offloaded a lot of stuff to, so hopefully that won't be a problem going forward, and we're going to record this episode tonight, and it should be fine. Happy 4th of July to you, Steve, and to all of our listeners. I say to you now, Steve, because by the time everyone hears this, it won't be the 4th of July anymore. That being said, we are recording tonight in the midst of regular barrages of fireworks going off, both here in, I'm near Los Angeles, I'm in Long Beach, but also over in the Windy City, where Steve is in Chicago. So apologies in advance for the low booms that keep happening in the background. Just, if we duck every once in a while, that's what you're hearing. So Steve, how's the war zone out there by you?
Yeah, it's going off everywhere. We had fireworks going off pretty much every city last night. Downtown Chicago had their fireworks show on the 2nd, and then, of course, we've got stuff going off today. So it's been just 3 days of nonstop fireworks, essentially, all around here. Yeah,
well, we'll know in about 35 seconds when it becomes 9 p.m. here on the West Coast. We have a local country club golf course, and every year before the pandemic, they do a big show. And Saturday night, they did their big show for the first time since the pandemic started, and it was about 20 minutes long, and it started at 9 p.m., so I don't know if they're going to do another one tonight, but we'll know in a couple of minutes, so I may have to have my finger on the mute button here for a bit, but yeah, so happy 4th, everybody, to all of our American listeners, and happy Treason Day to all of our British listeners, and
there's a few. I think Canada had a day as well.
Yeah, we missed that one. Sorry, Canadians. We love you. Do we have topics, or are we just going to schmooze about fireworks for the whole episode?
I think we'll finally get into some of the episode. This was probably one of our longest intros.
Of our longest intros?
Yeah. But we did have a good number of updates come out last week. 7 in total, plus a little small one here about Keep that came in the end of week recap post. And then some other big news as well in the Google Workspace world. We'll talk about those shortly. So in terms of those updates, the silent one that came out and part of the end of week recap was about dragging out images from Keep. Then we have offline syncing is now available for Microsoft Office documents, so you can work on those offline. Rich text formatting in Google Forms now comes to the titles and descriptions fields. You can start meetings more efficiently with the calendar guest list in Google Meet. That's pretty cool. That's a feature I've seen already in some of my meetings. I like that.
Yep.
There's an updated timeline for the new integrated view of Gmail. We'll talk about that. So that's the previous and now. It's not really an update per se, but it's just an update on the timeline of when that new view is coming out. So
a little bit of an update in there.
A little bit. I think, that's right. There's some things happening in there, right? Some changes to things.
Yep. Tweaked it up.
Yep. Some new security alerts for, what they're classifying as highly sensitive changes to workspace configurations. You can now synchronize client-side encrypted files with Google Drive for desktop on Windows and Mac OS. Actually, that's what the title is, but I believe right now it's only coming out to Windows. Mac OS is coming later. And then you can easily share profile links in contacts now. So making it easier to send a link to someone else in your org so that they can access the contact info of a person. And then we cover the other topics. So big news is that Javier Soltero left Google, or is leaving Google. I think he's left,
leaving,
right?
The 15th. It seemed like from his initial post. Yeah, his initial post, which he made fun of himself on Twitter, saying it shows how well he knows how to use Twitter. His initial post had made it seem like effective basically then and there, but reality is he's leaving, I believe, on the 15th, but I can double check that for all of you.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. And then Google also losing another exec that was working on their payments portal, or Google Pay, I think it was, right? And let's see.
Google Pay, Google Wallet, whatever the hell they want to call it.
Yeah, you've got a couple articles here that are all about Javier, so trying to skip over the ones that are the same. Gmail gets Material U, web redesign, and Gmail only view without chat and meet. So that's kind of the update. That's part of the updated timeline for the new integrated view for Gmail. It's part of that, exactly. And then for your Workspace individual users, if anyone out there is using that, there's a new functionality coming to easily sign documents right in Google Docs. So hopefully that feature will be coming out to Workspace customers at some point, kind of like the way they previewed some of the appointment scheduling with Workspace individual users first before moving over into the Workspace environment. So that's all of our topics for the week. Let's dive into that first one. First one's an interesting one. So this new ability to drag out from Keep, an interesting one because I'm looking at the image of what they're doing there, and we're trying to figure out. I haven't used an Android tablet in a while, so I'm thinking that this must be an Android tablet where the apps are side by side, and the app tray looks like Chrome to me. But in the top right corner, we do see the icons that typically relate to a mobile device. So if you do use Keep and you want to drag out images from there that are in your notes, you can now do that and drag it over to an email, for example, as it showcases here. First big update then of those 7 is that offline syncing is available for opened Microsoft Office documents. So this will bring additional functionality to the way that you can use Drive offline. So it will be in addition to doc sheets and slides that you've been able to edit offline there when you have that turned on and syncing. So this will now be available to Microsoft Office files, those doc sheet and slide documents, equivalents of Office. Pretty straightforward for this one. Just if you have offline capabilities, turn it on. It will start to keep those documents available for you to edit offline. And
my legal department thanks Google.
Yeah. Just before you had to If you have the drive for desktop client and you wanted to work offline, you could sync those docs offline, but this is bringing it into the web, so into the browser. So you'll be able to edit those documents offline there in the browser. Rollout pace on this one started June 27th for both rapid release and scheduled release domains, and it's on a gradual rollout up to 15 days for visibility here, and available to all customers that have offline capabilities. Also available to personal Google accounts as well. And next we have the rich text formatting in Google Forms coming into the title and description fields. Pretty straightforward with this one. You're just getting some additional formatting capabilities there in those fields to make it the questions stand out a little bit, or if you need to highlight something in one of those questions, you can do that now. And rollout for this one, it's split between rapid release and scheduled release domains. So rapid release domains started seeing this already starting the 20th of June on a gradual rollout up to 15 days for visibility. Scheduled release domains will start to see this on the 19th of July on a full rollout plan with 1 to 3 days for feature visibility there. And also available to all Workspace as well as personal Google accounts. The first one that, next on the list here, first one here that I find pretty interesting this week is that you can now start to see the invite list in your Meet event. So you can check and see who's been invited, who's not there. Makes it even very easy to send them a chat message and say, hey, are you coming to the meeting? And you can click, their name and head over right to chat and send them a quick message. It's a little bit more individual than, going into your calendar event and then clicking the chat with everyone that's been invited approach, because that, of course, will ping everyone, even people that are there. So if you are, let's say, just looking for that one or two important people that aren't there yet and you just need to reach them individually, this makes it really easy to do that, as well as, for everyone to see who is on the call and who should be on the call, who's invited. So rollout on this one, we'll talk about that, is starting the 29th of June, up for both rapid release and scheduled release domains, and it is on an extended rollout, potentially longer than 15 days for visibility there. I know I was seeing it on at least one of my domains already, so hopefully you're seeing it sooner than later. This is not available to everyone, so there's a few SKUs that it is not available on. I'll list those because it's a little bit shorter of a list. So it is not available to Workspace Essentials, Enterprise Essentials, and individual customers with users with personal Google accounts.
I got to say, I was a little disappointed that it was the ability to chat was only on an individual basis with those who are invited but had not yet appeared. I was looking for a bit more passive-aggressive, message everybody automatically with one click to say, yo, are you coming?
Oh, I see. Right. So
it's like I'm in the middle of the meeting getting started. I just want a one click to say, reminder, hey, we're getting started. Or in the more asshole-ish version is get your ass in the meeting, Right.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. So you're basically looking for the similar capability that you have in the calendar invite.
Yeah, exactly.
Where you can message everyone. This would just be a quick way to message everyone who isn't there.
Yep.
Yeah, I think.
But no, you got to go one at a time, which is, fine. As a host, if you haven't started the meeting yet, okay, sure, it works. But I don't know. It would be far more efficient just to click one button and say, hey, reminder, chat.
Yeah, because
coming.
When you,
or it's starting, rather.
Because when you do that chat link from the calendar invite, you can individually remove
everyone.
People.
Oh, yeah.
It does include everyone initially, but you can remove people because it's essentially creating this, group chat where you individually add people, right?
No, I like the idea that it goes to them individually. I just want to message them all individually with the same, hey, we're getting started. If you're free, can you join? Something, you don't have to be passive-aggressive about it. You could be nice about it, but it would be nice to just with one click, hey, we're 5 minutes in, get your ass. Would you like to join the meeting if you're available? Kind of a message,
Yeah, it depends on who you're messaging, I guess.
Fun fact, by the way, about these these screenshots is I always kind of wondered if they were Googlers that they just had hop on a call, or if these are actual actors. But they got a bunch of people together who are I don't know what the correct term is for it, but like professional, not necessarily headshots, but professional stand-ins for an event like this. So, people that are aspiring actors, I guess, probably fall into this category. I saw a post on LinkedIn where somebody was saying, oh, wow, my buddy so-and-so is the one that was on stage in the screenshot or in the video call at Google I/O. And that is one of the guys that is in this shot, if I remember correctly, is under Joe Carlson. So it's like, oh, okay, that's where these people come from. I was always curious about that.
So they're
they're
not Googlers, right?
No, they're paid actors.
Paid actors. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fun fact.
Interesting.
They're just reusing different segments of the images and stuff for these screenshots, which is smart. Makes sense.
But those are the real names.
Oh, I don't remember if it was the real name or not. I could look it up.
Okay.
Actually, I probably couldn't look it up. I don't remember when or where I saw it. It was on LinkedIn where I saw it, but I don't remember exactly whom posted it.
Okay.
But I love this feature, honestly. Despite everything I've said about it thus far, I think that's amazing. The fact that I can at a glance say, oh, these people still aren't here. Because usually, I think, at least for me personally, in my meetings, it's only going to be 2 or 3 people. It's not going to be, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people like they have here or more. If you have more people than that, then there's probably somebody whose job it is to go and hunt them down and make sure they come, or you don't care if they come or not because it's an all hands or something along those lines.
Right.
In my use case, it would generally be 1 or 2 people that it's like, all right, are they still in another meeting and they're finishing up? So I can just send them a chat and say, hey, we're waiting for you. Let's go.
Yep.
And I think, that's awesome at a glance to be able to, because I am regularly looking at Google Calendar in my sidebar because I have chat on one window, Google Chat, and then I have the calendar open as the add-on. And I always open stuff up in there for events. I'm like, all right, who's here, who's not? So this makes it really simple. I love it. What were you going to say?
Yeah, I was just saying that I wish we used Meet everywhere. At 1871, but our CEO likes to use Zoom for all the meetings. And the team meeting, we always spend like the first 5 minutes of going through who's not here, who didn't, I'm like,
it's annoying.
So this would be a great time saver on that.
Yeah. The only thing we use Zoom for over at Westland is the company town hall, in which case I care to know how many people were there. I don't really care to know who it is or when they joined. We're not tracking that. Hopefully we get all attendance, but that's not ever a realistic goal for a company town hall. So that's not a use case where I'm like, all right, who's here, who's not, kind of a thing.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, this is great. Onward.
Next update is the updated timeline for the new integrated view for Gmail. So there's changes coming to that. So it was released in a kind of beta approach a while ago, where you could add certain individuals to get access to this new capability. I think it was end of last year, October, November time, I think is when it initially got announced.
It's been so long, it doesn't feel like a beta.
Yeah. So it is now starting to roll out to users, and they will have the opt-in, opt-out capability, and users should be given, they will be given the option initially to kind of make that transition and switch between the two. And let's see, there's they made a note here that the new experience will vary based on your Workspace edition. Specifically, if you only have Gmail, you will continue to have Gmail only configuration in the new navigation, it looks like.
Yeah.
It just kind of depends on what features you have enabled on your account.
So as far as I can tell here, and correct me if I'm wrong, the only things that are changing here is the timeline of where this is rolling out and the fact that they're tweaking the design a little bit to be to be Material U as opposed to whatever we had before that was close to Material U but not really there. No?
Well, so if this is the next, the part that's new. I don't recall being able to customize this before, but if you use Gmail Chat and Meet, you can specify which apps you want to be included in the new view by customizing that in the quick settings. Yeah.
Interesting option. Don't think it's going to make a difference to me. I use Chat, like I said, in a separate window and a separate monitor, but I still
Yeah.
like to have it in my Gmail in case I want to every once in a while jump in and have it open in two places, or have two different things open in two different places.
Yeah.
But
but that's new to the.
That's a third new thing.
But they also said something about there'll be a new navigation. That material you update, right? So I think it's just some design enhancements. I'm just trying to. It looks pretty similar to. I don't see
It's a tinted blue instead of a tinted gray, I think. Yeah, the sidebar is now a tinted blue. The background accents are all blue based, very light blue. But I guess in all of their user research design review sessions, of which I have participated in several, people said that they liked the more colorful colors, so they went with those probably.
Yeah, I guess so.
But it doesn't really look all that different. It's just the color's a little different. And for anybody who's using a theme, you're not going to notice.
Right.
This is only for the vanilla users, if you will.
Yeah. Exactly. So rollout pace on this one, the start of the 28th of June for both rapid release and scheduled release domains, and it's on an extended rollout, potentially longer than 15 days for visibility. I know the account that I'm looking at right now does not have the new ability to turn off those chat or meet options, so I have not seen this yet for my accounts, but I haven't checked all of them.
I haven't seen it.
This is going to be available, looks like here, to pretty much everyone. It's only not available to Workspace Essentials customers. And I think that's because they don't have Gmail. So that would make sense.
That would be a great reason why. I'd like to note also that they have changed the Compose button again. Or was this the previously announced change of the Compose button that we just don't see yet, where it's not an oval or an oblong, whatever. It's now a rectangle with curved... Well, now it's a rectangle with curved corners, as opposed to what we have now is more of a circular shape.
Ooh,
isn't it?
That's a good point. It is a little bit more rectangular in this image.
Yep.
Mine is more
circular
and long. Yeah. Okay.
Which really means to anybody who's not a design nerd like we are, is that the Compose button shape looks a little different. That's it. It's still a Compose button. It's still there.
Yep.
Trying to see what else they changed here. Looks relatively the same, except for that color and whatnot. Yeah, I can't see anything else really different.
Need an assistant to grab me some water.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah, my assistant doesn't work this late at night.
All right, next update. I think we got the timelines and all that announced. Talked about. Did I not? I just I talked about starting the 28th. Extended rollout. Yep. So next update is that there are some additional alerts for highly sensitive changes to Google Workspace configuration. So there will be ways to look for changes to your SSO applications when a profile's been added, updated, or deleted. When there's changes to the primary admin, when changes to the primary admin have been made, and then also when a password has been reset for super admin. So I guess it just identifies that a little bit more clearly that it was a super admin, perhaps, because you should get password reset alerts anyways for users. So probably it's just clarifying that it's a super admin account, so you don't have to check and see. Probably.
You get alerts for that? You
what,
sure?
For password changes? When passwords are changed?
I'm trying to remember.
The reset? Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen those.
Yeah, I have it.
I get those when someone is added for, when someone's given privileges. But I don't know that I get... I get an email when that happens. Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah, there's not by default.
Super admin password reset, which is what they're adding here. That's a good idea.
Yep.
I don't care that so-and-so in whatever, logistics or maintenance or whatnot.
Yeah, so I think it would
my
be
team
nice
is on that.
Yeah, it'd be nice to be all admins of any kind would be even better.
Yeah.
You know,
anybody with powers.
Yeah. Yeah, because you don't necessarily want to see it. If you have a large org and you're resetting passwords frequently, you don't necessarily need to see everyone.
July 5th, baby. Get ready. Tomorrow morning, or today for everyone who's listening to the show, here come the password resets. You don't have this problem, Steve?
What? No.
People leave for a long weekend, come back and go, what was my password? I don't remember my password.
No, I've never
had that. All the time.
Oh, really?
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Not a common thing that places I've worked anyways.
Well, be thankful that you're working with more tech-savvy users. Those of us who are not, I feel your pain. I am there with you.
Yeah. I did have to help someone one time. They got a brand new computer, and like the day after, they forgot their password on the computer, what they set it to.
Sweet. Good times.
Yeah. I just reformatted the whole thing and started over. All right, updates on this one, timelines on this. So this change started the 28th of June, and it is on a gradual rollout up to 15 days for visibility on both scheduled release and rapid release domains, and available to all customers as well as the legacy G Suite Basic and Business. 2 more updates we have, and then I'll pass it over to you, Jesse. So we can now synchronize client-side encrypted files with Drive for desktop on Windows and Mac. And like I said, support for Mac OS users on File Provider will be introduced in a future release. I'm trying to think of File Provider. Isn't that the new
File
functionality
Provider?
That they... Yeah, that's what it says. It says support for Mac OS
that?
users on File Provider will be introduced in a future release. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe it's something specific with client-side encryption. I don't know. You Googling it, typing it?
Survey says the File Provider framework allows you to integrate your cloud storage into the file system on macOS. It uses new APFS features to allow on-demand downloads of user files and folders. The API is entirely in user space. That's off of developer.apple.com.
Yeah.
Announced at WWDC last year.
Right. So I guess that's just any macOS users that are using the latest and greatest version of their, I think the most recent version of macOS, right? Which is 10. No, it's like what 12.4, right?
Yes.
Probably has to do with that. Then I guess. So
that's how you could tell that I was Googling it.
Yeah, I could tell.
Watch my eyes move across.
Oh no, I could hear you typing actually.
Oh no, I need a quieter keyboard. I got the quieter mouse. I need the quieter keyboard now. Get on that, Logitech. Yeah. Come on, let's go. The MX keys.
So admins will have to update their CSE configuration and add a new drive for desktop client ID to the identity provider settings, and then your users will start to be able to use it. This feature started changing the 29th of June, and it's on a gradual rollout for both rapid release and scheduled release domains, with up to 15 days for visibility there. And availability here, it says that Synchronize encrypted files is going to be available to all Workspace customers, as well as the legacy G Suite Basic and Business. And then encrypted upload local files is going to be available to Workspace Enterprise Plus, Education Standard, and Education Plus customers, and won't be available to others. That wraps up that update. And then last but not least, we have the ability to easily share profile links via contacts. So these, when you're in contacts.google.com, you will have a way to click the 3 dots on a user's profile and grab a URL to that person to share with someone else in your org, so that they can easily pull that person up and find them, which is nice.
I like this feature.
Yeah, this is good.
What I don't like is Google having tiny screenshots so that I can hardly see what's happening here. But we were chatting about that pre-show, and sometimes, by the way, if you look at the source and you look at the images where they are in the folders, you can pull the full size, or if you pull certain links, you can get them in full size. But this one's tiny. The Keep one was tiny. But anyway, I love this because we actually utilize contacts pretty solidly. We built our own in-house automation that works with our HRIS, our HR system, as well as Google Workspace, and completely fills out the Google contacts with the person's RingCentral number. So it pulls that data in, pulls in their employee ID, it pulls in their location. All that data gets showed up in here, as well as you can see, I think in this screenshot, I can double check here, but you can see who their manager is, and managers is listed there, and so on. And so it's I haven't used this yet. I did see it start to go live, but I can definitely see myself. Somebody asked me, "Oh, who's the person at that location?" I can just fire off a link to their profile to that. Yeah. Whoever asked. So, good stuff.
Yep, pretty cool. Let's see. So this is a feature. It's only surfaced for contacts that have an email connected with their Workspace profile. So make sure you have. It talks about it's helpful to have user data fully populated. How do you not have an email connected to the Workspace profile?
That's what I was wondering. I don't know.
Yeah.
For contacts, can you send contacts that you custom add, or are these only in your domain?
Well, that's what
Can you share, like you would normally share a file? You can share your contact. So I'm working with, XX contact at vendor X.
Yeah.
Let me share you their contact in my Google contacts, maybe?
Maybe. I
hadn't really thought about that.
Maybe it's the domain shared contacts that have an email. It's included for that too, as well as your employees. Because you can add, domain shared contacts in through the API, and you don't have to put an email for them, for example.
Right. Well, it also shows here the Google Cloud Directory Sync and Admin SDK. So theoretically, any contacts that you put in through these.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see how that how that works once we get it.
When I have more time, I'm going to launch a follow-up recap show that's going to actually talk about the features when they launch and be like, here's how it actually manifested. Because Google, sometimes, we love you, Google. We really do. But sometimes you're like, hey, here's how this is going to work. And then it's like, well, this is what actually happened. So.
Yeah.
That show will come.
Yeah, so
we'll make it shorts. TikTok. Go on.
Yeah, I'm just looking here, at the end user, the way this works. It looks like you can just easily type in a URL directly to their profile. So it's contact.google.com/email address.
Oh, interesting.
And actually all you need, I guess if you have multiple domains, I'm not sure how that would work, but if you just have one domain, it's really easy because you could just put the username, and you don't necessarily need to put the .com or .edu anything after it. You just need to do, username at domain. It also says so. A couple different ways to enter in that URL and have that format correctly work.
Yeah, it's an easy way to pull it.
Yeah.
But that leads more to the idea of things that are properly added by your domain, not something where you would share it, such as you would share a file in Google Drive.
Yeah.
So it's things that everybody has access to.
Yep. So there's a bit of a long explanation here to the rollout pace, but we'll get through it here. So starting on the 30th of June, for both rapid release and scheduled release domains, there's an extended rollout, potentially longer than 15 days, with an anticipated completion by the 18th of July. And due to the staggered nature of the rollout, they say that end users may be able to copy profile links from their browser address bar before having access to the copy profile link button. So that's good. You can start to use it before you actually have the feature visible to you. So you can try that out. Try that out in your account, and it might start working already. This is going to be available to pretty much everyone, except it won't be available to users with personal Google accounts, which kind of makes sense. That's our updates for the week. Jesse, over to you on those other topics in the news.
Yeah, so the next 4 links and 5 topics. Pour one out for our fearless leader, Javier Soltero. Thank you, Javier, for all the hard work you've done over the years, the last 3 years at Google, shepherding and heralding in a new era for what was G Suite is now Google Workspace. It's not perfect. It'll never be perfect. That's the nature of SaaS. And, we appreciate all the work that you've done. So thank you for that. Who knows what's going to be next for Javier? On Twitter, he didn't really say. He did say that he is an entrepreneur at heart and wants to take a break, and then will probably get into building something new in the future. So if you know anything about Javier's past, he's done the whole entrepreneur thing a bunch of times, and had sold his company, what was it, Acompli, or to Microsoft, and we've talked about this, I don't know, a dozen or more episodes ago, maybe last year, and that became the basis for Outlook, and then he was hired away to Google Workspace, and he has done a tremendous job leading through COVID and all of the changes that happened during this time. So huge appreciation to Javier for that. I posted in the other topics area here of our notes, our show notes, a couple of articles from different publications. Google Workspace head Javier Soltero is leaving the company. That comes from Protocol. Ars Technica says Google loses 2 execs, one for messaging and Workspace, another for payments. And 9to5 Google also covers Google Workspace and consumer messaging boss Javier Soltero is leaving after 3 years. 9to5 Google says, oh, that's the next update. That's not part of Javier. But is about material you redesign that we talked about above, and Steve is currently editing something in the notes, so I'm not really sure what he's putting in there, but you'll see that manifesting in the notes if he... Oh, no, he deleted it. Never mind.
I just
disregard.
Too. That's all.
Okay, fine. Thank you. A little late, but thank you. Yeah. It's I actually posted about this on LinkedIn, and crazy thing here, LinkedIn picked me up, so I am officially an influencer. Right? Picked up my post and put it in LinkedIn News, and had 24,000 people look at it, which is more than I think I've ever had any of my posts ever have. So very exciting for me personally. Thank you all for coming along for the ride. I'd like to thank the Academy as well. Oh wait, wrong speech. Anyway, the next stage after this is going to be interesting to see what happens, right? Javier's leaving. Okay, so Google is promoting somebody in his place whose name I don't have written down here. I apologize, but I will bring it up in a hot moment here. Google's longtime veteran, and we have to get her on the show because I'm going to butcher this name like I butcher everyone's name. Aparna Papu, I think is how it's pronounced.
It's just interim. I think it's an interim role, right? I think, if I read that correctly.
I wasn't clear on that. No, I didn't think that she was an interim role.
No, maybe that was somewhere else that I saw interim happening.
In one of the articles that we posted here, they do specifically, I think it's a Protocol article, where they talk about who's taking over and when. I did confirm, by the way, that he's leaving on the 15th, so that is coming in the next 10 days. Here we go. Parna Papu, who is currently the vice president leading engineering for Workspace, so somebody who's in the weeds, knows the product. They're going to, and I continue quoting here, will assume the role of general manager leading Google Workspace after Soltero's departure. Kurian said it in the email. Kurian obviously being Thomas Kurian, the head of Google Cloud. Not a whole lot more information on that, so that remains to be seen. But Steve, I think that the temporary head was the head of Google Payments or Wallet or whatever they're calling it now, not on Workspace. I was under the impression that Aparna was. I was under the impression that Aparna was going to be the permanent head. Although the interesting thing to note here is that she's currently VP of Engineering, but she's going to be general manager, which Javier was, but he was also VP and general manager. I don't know if that's just an omission or if that was on purpose, but the chips are still falling, so we'll see, I guess, what happens after the 15th. Aparna, if you'd like to introduce yourself to our audience, we'd love to have you on the show, obviously. Happy to be in touch. We were in touch with Javier's team and unfortunately did not get the chance to have him on, although we were this close. We'd love to have you on. We'd love to talk about any of the initiatives going on over at Google Workspace. Obviously, we are Google Workspace's biggest fans over here at Google Workspace Recap. So those are the articles there. If you're interested in what's happening and the business side of management and transitions, go and check those out. Moving on here, we have Gmail gets Material You redesign and Gmail only view without chat and meet. This is a 9 to 5 Google article that basically goes over what we talked about in the earlier update, talking about where the timeline and some of the new things that are coming out with the Material You and the new Gmail view, so to speak, as well as the timeline, etc. As we said, nothing too major here, but a couple of nice tweaks from Material You, which is always good. And now it gives you a cohesive design language across Android and a bunch of other products, including Google Workspace. So always good to get those updates. And, some people like to really bemoan and complain about these changes, but after a little while you get used to it, and you realize after a year or two you look back at what it was before the new interface that you got used to, and you're like, oh god, that was terrible. So big fan of those updates, especially when they're a nice design language update such as Material You. So, and then on to the last one here is one that Steve dropped on us over from the Keyword, which is Google's primary blog, I believe their primary blog, is an interesting feature that I want to come to regular Google Workspace, not just the solo business owners, is e-signatures. Shots fired across DocuSign and Sign Now and all of the others. Coming soon, easily sign important documents right in Google Docs. And I think this is going to be a game changer. I think this is phenomenal. I think this is enormous. Box.com recently launched this as part of their product suite. It is a new e-signature tool. Obviously, DocuSign is the king of this space. I'm personally a fan of Sign Now because they give you unlimited for, I don't know, whatever it is, $15 a month per user, which is crazy cheap in comparison to what DocuSign charges. I've cried over those invoices back when I was paying them before I moved off and switched to Sign Now. So I definitely can feel the pain of anybody who's over on DocuSign and signing those. But if you could build it into a tool I'm already paying for Google, please and thank you, that would be fantastic. So you're going to be able to collaborate in documents as you start building them. You can add fields. So using the regular Google Docs interface, you can drag and drop signature and date fields into branded documents that you create. You can request a signature, you can add signatures, you can monitor and track progress, and you can create copies of contracts. So basically everything you need to do in order to manage a document that you're sending out, you can do now in the personal version of Google Workspace. Unfortunately, this is only for Google Workspace Individual at this time, as far as I can tell. Right, Steve, have you heard of it coming to regular Workspace anywhere?
I've not. No, this is just individual Workspace first, so likely we'll
and that's
follow
sad.
That.
And that's sad because I would love to short DocuSign stock and watch Google take a huge bite out of their pie. No offense to anybody who loves DocuSign, but quite frankly, the experience I've had and the price they pay for DocuSign, and you've heard my pitch and my spiel on mega crazy enterprise software, companies that are charging way more than I'm paying for each individual Google Workspace license for a single tool, whereas I get everything Google Workspace offers for the cost of Google Workspace, which is less than it costs to pay for DocuSign, or Asana for that matter, as we've said before. So I'd be very happy if they brought this to the regular Google Workspace tiers. I imagine it wouldn't come to the lowest tiers, but maybe, standard and above, or even enterprise, etc. Anyway, if you're interested in this and you're using the individual tier, save 20% until October 2022 when you sign up for Google Workspace Individual today, yada, yada, yada. I am curious if this is it sounds like it's going to cost more as an add-on. So we'll have to dig into the pricing there. But, they're saying when you sign up for Google Workspace Individual, so it looks like it's just going to be built in. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. And like many of their other features, it comes to education first, or it comes to individual first, and then eventually it makes its way over to business and enterprise tiers. So I guess stay tuned for that. And that's it. That's all she wrote. Oh, that's a note from me. I was about to read that. Steve dropped a note for me in the chat, and not in the chat, but in the show notes. Not going to read that out loud. It's all good. Anyway, hope the fireworks weren't too crazy tonight. I could hear from Steve's end a couple of booms and bangs and whatnot. And at one point, you probably all saw me move my headphones off of my ear rather quickly is because I felt internally, like I felt the repercussions of a boom, which was probably one of my neighbors celebrating the holiday and, America and all that. So good for them, but it scared the crap out of me. So hopefully I didn't whack my mic or anything during that time. But anyway, happy 4th of July. That's all for this week. Send us your questions and comments on Twitter at Workspace Recap and on our website, workspacerecap.com. Wow, this is, good Lord. I need to go to sleep. It's been a long day. It's been a long week. No childcare for my kids, so I'm a little loony at the end of the day here. Send us your questions and comments. Leave us a review. Hit the subscribe. All the great things that you're supposed to say at the end of a video on YouTube and on podcasting, etc. Give us a thumbs up. Leave your comments down below. Although I guess you shouldn't do up and down as I did in the video there because we don't want people giving us a thumbs down. Anyway, have a great week and we'll see you next time on Workspace Recap. Wrap it up. Close it out.